Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is JJ from JJ's Hobby Power. Hope you guys been keeping well. So today we have a Maisto Lamborghini Huracan Performante. As you can see in front of the screen, I have picked the metallic green with yellow undertone version. You'll probably be able to find this Lamborghini Huracan Performante in different color, depends on the country you're in. But I personally like this color the most. I think it really stands out. It definitely popped inside my model car display cabinet, especially when I have the spotlights shining on it. So this Huracan Performante is not a high-end model. As I mentioned earlier, this is a Maisto model, so it is fairly cheap. I think I paid around 35 to 40 British pound for it, and I got it maybe about a year ago. I know you will be able to find it from Model Store as well as Amazon as well, or if you would like to pick up a second-hand one, I'm sure you will be able to find it in eBay as well. But you know, you just have to kind of watch out for the quality of the model when it's used or second-hand. You know, sometimes you might be lucky, you might be able to find a model which is in pristine condition, just like new. So just be aware of that. So this Lamborghini Huracan Performante is a die-cast model, so it's not too heavy. At the same time, it's not light like a resin model. I personally think this is one of the best model made by Maisto. I really like the shape of the Huracan Performante that Maisto has tried to represent. The paintwork is really good. As you can see from the reflection, the paintwork is really smooth, very shiny. The model stance is very correct. Well, I guess one of the thing that I dislike about this model would be because it is a Maisto model. If it was made by Birago, I think they probably would put a bit more effort on the front splitter, the interior, the rear spoiler and the rear bumper with the forged carbon effect. I'm sure Maisto would have done a very good job with it, but as you can see on the Maisto version, they just kind of got away with plain color plastic, and they tried to ignore the forged carbon fiber pattern. So that's one downside about this model. But if you're putting this model on a display cabinet, you probably won't even notice, even though if you have the forged carbon pattern on certain area of the vehicle. So I hope you guys have had a good look around of this Performante on the spinning top. So I will just stop the spinning top now and remove the model from the mirror, and then I can talk you through everything that you would find on this Lamborghini Huracan Performante. So bear with me 1 second. So let's start from the underside. So at the front you can see there are some details, indentation. There's a gap there which I believe is supposed to be through or perforated from the front lower splitter, so it draws the air in from there and then through the radiator, and then it spills out the warm air to the underside. The tires are made out of semi-soft rubber, and it has got very good details on the tire tread. You can also see the brake disc from the underside as well. Towards the mid body, you can see the printing saying Lamborghini Huracan Performante. The scale is 1:18. It's made by Maisto, made in China, and there's a serial number 11937, and then there's another edged code which said MD2929. And then, as you are already aware, the Lamborghini Huracan Performante is a mid-engine vehicle, and this engine block, you can actually press it and it moves around. That's quite cool. Coming to the rear tire, you can see it's slightly thicker than the front wheel, and it is also made out of semi-soft rubber. And again, you can see the brake disc inside the wheel as well. And then there are also some details printed on the underside as well, though they are not perforated or anything. And then towards the end, you can see there is a big diffuser that go around from the under chassis to the rear bumper. Now, looking at the front, you can see the paintwork is pretty cool. So it has the green top paint, and then underneath you can see the metallic yellow flake effect, which is really cool. The Lamborghini logo is actually a water transfer decal. I can feel it with my stylus. Headlight details, it's pretty decent. It's mainly a molded black piece of plastic, and then they painted silver on the main headlamps as well as the daylight running light. You can see the silver stripes there, although it's not really accurate because the daylight running light on the Lamborghini Huracan Performante, the shape is slightly different, but it doesn't distract from the model. From a distance you can't really tell anyway. And then looking at the air vent, these are just texture plastic, safe on both sides. And then the inner vent is also texture plastic. The intercooler is also printed on, and then you can see there is a cover or indentation for the tow hook. In the corner you can also see the parking sensor. There's one on each side, and there's also front indicator on each side as well. As I mentioned earlier, if this is a Virago or Auto Art or even BBR or MR collection model, the front splitter, they probably would have made it with carbon fiber decal. But unfortunately, this Maisto model, they have only used a plain bit of plastic to represent the front splitter, so there is no carbon fiber effect whatsoever. One thing you do get is the ALA logo right at the tip of the front splitter as you can see, is underneath the Italian flag as well. So ALA stands for Lamborghini Active Aerodynamics. So if you Google Lamborghini Huracan Performante, you probably find information about the front splitter and the rear spoiler. You know, it depends on the speed you're going. You know, the aerodynamics would do some really clever stuff to increase the downforce. So moving on to the front windscreen. There's nothing special there, it's just a clear piece of plastic with black surrounding. The front windscreen wipers, they are molded plastic, so they are fixed as well. So the whole dash is all molded plastic as well. If you get a different manufacturer, like a higher end manufacturer such as Auto Art, I don't know what you call it, the cluster area, this piece here would be forged carbon material covered, same as all of these air vent. You will see the forged carbon effect. Looking at the side, you can see the wheel is pretty detailed. It has a Lamborghini logo right in the middle, though it's not aligned properly. You can see the logo is slightly shifted to one side, but can't expect too much from a Maestro model. The actual rims is pretty cool, pretty decent. I don't see the valve cap, which is a bit strange because on some other model made by Maestro, they do actually include the valve cap on the wheels, but not on this model. And you can see there are 5 locking nuts in the middle of the wheel, and you can see a big black brake caliper inside, and it also has a Lamborghini logo in the middle. The brake disc or the brake rotor is pretty cool. It does spin with the wheels, so it goes through the brake caliper. So that's a plus point for Maestro. There is no suspension on the wheel, it's all fixed, so there's no spring behind the brake disc. And on the side you get this small side window in front of the side mirror. The side mirror is actually a separate piece of molded plastic, and it does have a reflective sticker on the other side. As you can see, there's a clear reflection of my stylus, the tips of the stylus. And then you have the Tricolore on the lower side of the side door, and there's a Performante signature on the door as well. And then the air deflector or the air scoop, you can see there is a air vent inside. The air vent is actually molded plastic, so just to give the effect that looks like a real mesh, but it's not perforated. And then you get the nice indentation of the door handle mechanism. The rear window There's also a nice black surrounding, and this mesh is just a sticker, so it's not a real mesh, it's all solid piece of plastic with the sticker on. And then in there, just try to focus and zoom in there is also there's a solid piece of plastic, so it's not through to the engine compartment. On the top side, there's not much details there, but you can see there's a crease line on both sides. On the front bonnet, these are actually indentation, whereas on the roof, those are just crease lines. You can feel it if you run your finger on it. On the right hand side, pretty much the same details as per the left hand side. There's a slight difference between the right side and the left side. Is on the right side you do get the indentation for the fuel cap. Everything else is pretty much the same. Coming to the rear wheel, again is a fairly detailed wheel. Lamborghini logo in the middle, surrounded by 5 locking nuts. The wheel itself is pretty detailed. The only downside is it doesn't have a valve cap, which I have mentioned earlier. And then if you look through the alloy wheels, you can see there's a black brake caliper, which also has a Lamborghini logo on it. And compared to the front, the rear brake caliper is slightly smaller and slightly different shape. And also the brake disc or brake rotor itself is a bit smaller on the rear wheel, but the details are all there. And on the rear wheel you also see the handbrake caliper as well, but I have painted the actual brake pad red just to draw your attention to look inside the wheel. And I have also kind of highlighted the inner circle of the brake disc to a silver color. So normally it would be the same color as the outer rotor, and I've done the same thing for the front wheels as well. You can see the inner circle is highlighted in a brighter silver paint. Okay, and then moving along from the front roof, sorry, on the top roof, there is a excuse me, there is a rear window for the engine compartment that you can see right through to the engine. There are 5 holes on each side of the window, and that is actually perforated. And in the center you can see there are actually that's 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be 4 vents on the engine cover, but I've only highlighted the top 3 vents because trying to get to that is quite difficult, and it's only a very thin line anyway. It won't be that easy for me to do, so I've left it. But on your model you won't see the black lines. And then coming to the rear wing, as you can see, this is one piece of molded plastic of the spoiler. There's not a lot of details on it. It's pretty plain, to be honest. As I mentioned, the real Lamborghini Huracan Performante or a high-end model, you will see the forged carbon fiber effect on this. But unfortunately on this model, this is just a plain piece of plastic, and same as the rear bumper area. At the real car and the high-end model, you will see the forged carbon fiber pattern, whereas this one is just plain plastic again. I will try and show you guys my other collection of the Lamborghini Huracan Performante that is made by Auto Art, and I have the 1:12 scaled in purple, and from that, on that model, I could see, you know, all the forged carbon effect on all the different areas. So I will show you guys in the future video of that specific model car, and then you will see exactly what I mean. Okay, coming back to this model, on the rear view there is a central brake light, and then underneath that there's a Lamborghini logo, and that is a decal. The rear lights are pretty good. There's quite a bit of details on it, apart from the red lines highlighted. You could also see the texture on that piece of clear plastic, as well as a slightly different pattern on this clear plastic as well. It's the same on this side. And then the kind of air vent on both left and right side, and the center is just printed mesh on the plastic, so it's not perforated whatsoever. And same as that area between the two rear exhaust. One thing to mention is on the tip of the two exhausts, they actually have highlighted a different color just at the tip, as you can see. And it looks like the exhaust is one piece. As you can see, if I'm moving the right hand side, the left hand side pipe also move at the same time. And then onto the number plate, let me try and focus it. It actually shows Huracan Performante. I'm not sure you guys can see it, but the writings are there. And then you can see the rear diffuser, and there is also a red fog lamp right in the middle, and then you have got the diffuser fins right there, and you can see through to the tires from the gap of the bumper, same as the other side. And also there's reversed sensor on each side as well. Okay, so now the fun part. Let me just open up the front trunk. There's a bit of details on the underside of the bonnet. There's also a little bit of underspray as well, but if you don't have the trunk cover open, you can't see it at all. The hinges for the front hood is acceptable. It's not too big compared to some of the Burago model. They just have massive doglegs. For example, like the Lamborghini Sian that Birago has made, you can see there are two massive doglegs like right in the middle. And also, I don't see there's much point of that Lamborghini Sian having the front hood or front bonnet area being open, because there's literally nothing underneath. Whereas this one, you can see there is a small compartment for you to put not a lot of stuff, but it is there for small items. And this whole area is just one piece of molded plastic. Now let's look at the engine bay. Oh, you can get a better view now. So earlier I was trying to point out this 3 air vent. I painted it black. So originally it was just kind of sprayed green paint all over it, but I have missed out the last vent, so I haven't done that. Maybe I will find time to do it. I probably need to mask some tape around it so that I don't paint it over, trying to keep it as tidy as possible. Also the both left and right side that you can see, which is highlighted black, I've painted that previously, just to show that, you know, it looks more like an air vent or an outlet for the heat to escape. Now onto the engine bay. The rear section here is one piece of molded plastic that joined together with the kind of outline of the engine bay. The engine itself is a slightly different color, like a matte gold color with silver highlight. So all of that are done by Maisto. What I have done is I have highlighted this cap in the silver paint, as well as the center red dots that I put in. If you looked on the engine bay of the Lamborghini Huracan Performante, you will see that on the real car. I have also highlighted some area of the actual engine block, so you can see there's silver highlight as well as red highlights on the actual engine. And the engine itself is pretty detailed, as you can see on screen. I'll try and zoom in a little bit. You can actually see this manifold right at the bottom of the engine compartment. Which is really cool. The rear engine cover, the hinges are acceptable, they're not too big. I might try and paint the two hinges in a black color just to hide the hinges a little bit better. So I'll see if I can find time to do that. And apart from that, it's a fairly good engine bay, I have to say. Especially, as I said, you know, you can look right through to see the manifold in chrome color as well. That's really cool. Okay, so now let's look at the interior. So the driver's side door only open up to this level. It doesn't open very widely, unfortunately. On the door sill, you can see there is a Huracan sticker on it. On the actual door itself, the door card is just one piece of molded plastic, but Maisto has highlighted the door handle area in a silver color, same as the passenger side. And then the interior, let me try and zoom in. Right, here we go. So you can see the steering wheel has got different bits of highlight color. It has the Lamborghini logo in the center of the steering wheel. The buttons are there. The red button right at the bottom of the steering wheel, I've done that myself. The speedometer, that is just a sticker, and then you can see there are some buttons on the side of the steering wheel. The air vent, as I mentioned earlier, on a higher end model you'll probably see this air vent compartment or air vent part would have the forged carbon effect on it, same as the speedo cluster. The steering wheel itself is okay. It's a little bit thick, and where you put your hand or where you grip onto the steering wheel is supposed to be round, but this looks like there's an angle to it. And then the flappy pedal gearbox, you can see the pedal on both sides, but it looks a little bit thick, and they just left it as black piece of plastic, so they didn't even bother to put a different color to highlight that details. The paddles, try and focus, there you go. The accelerator and the brake pedal, Maisto have done it in the chrome color, but I have just used the silver color to highlight the pedal area, as well as the small area where you rest your left foot. I also painted that in silver. You can see this seat belt next to the racing seat, and I have highlighted the seat belt buckle in silver color, just easier to see. The racing seat is pretty plain. It was just molded black piece of plastic, but I used silver paint to highlight the edge of the seat just to keep some definition. Where you strap the seatbelt buckle, that it was painted red by Maisto, so it's not something that I've done myself. Now going to the other side, the center console, it was pre-painted by Maisto. The only thing that I have added is the red button. I just highlight it in red on the upper panel. So a normal model by Maisto, all of that will be black. And then again on the seat itself, I have highlighted the outskirt of the seat just to give more details when you're looking through the windscreen. And again, the seat belt buckle, I have highlighted it with a silver paint so it stands out a little bit more. The glove box area, let's try and focus, it's just molded piece of plastic with some indentation. All of the air vent you can see it's just molded texture but it is okay for a kind of low budget model, which is totally acceptable. And then on the door sill there is a Huracan sticker, just like the other side. And as I mentioned earlier, there is no suspension whatsoever because there's no springs behind the wheels, so it's totally rigid. The wheels, they do spin freely. The front wheels, they do steer, though the steering angle is not great, but it does work, and it is connected to the steering wheel inside. As you can see, they are connected. So overall, I am pretty happy with this model. As I mentioned, I'd only paid around 35 to 40 British pound for this model, and I actually really like this model. I think the shape is great, the color combination is spot on, the details are all there, even though you might need to do a bit of DIY just to bring out the additional details that has already been molded or included in this model. But you know, there's not a lot that you have to do in order to make this model car stands out even more. So all in all, I'm very happy with this model. I really like it. As I mentioned, the paintwork it's really cool. I really like to display this model car on my display stand, especially when I deliberately point the spotlights on the car. The whole car just glow in this lime green color with the yellow flaked undertone as well. It's really cool. I think that's about it. I've covered up pretty much everything about this model car. If you do have anything else that you want to find out about this Huracan Performante, then feel free to leave a comment on the comment box below. If you like my video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the bell button and subscribe to my channel, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Take care for now. Bye bye.